Hello, everyone. My name is Jasmine Shaw, and I'm a director for the Office of School Facilities for the state of South Carolina. I would like to first thank A4LE for inviting me to speak to you today for the state of the state of South Carolina. The Office of School Facilities represent our State Superintendent of Education, Molly Spearman, as the building official code enforcers for public schools in South Carolina. This includes the implementation of the South Carolina Building Codes, as well as the South Carolina School Facilities and Construction Guide. Our department is made up one of three organizations within what's called the Division of District Operations and Support. Our office is made up of 7 technical staff, 2 administrative staff, and myself as director. We all support over 1,200 public schools made up of 81 school districts and charters for all new construction, renovation, or some type of improvement project. On today, I would like to discuss our 2019 Capital Needs Report, which the General Assembly mandates that we generate a report every 3 years, which is a projected 5-year a projection of 5 years what the needs are for the school facilities within our state. So at this time, I'm going to pull up the report. Please note that the report contains district self-reported data that the South Carolina Department of Education has not audited or independently verified the data that was submitted to our office. Now, if we look at Part A, the student population has increased from 2016 to 2019. Where we see the student population today is about 726,000, which is about a 13% increase than what was reported back in 2016. Areas such as Rock Hill, South Carolina, which meet at the border of North Carolina, we've seen the population nearly triple with over a 7-year period. Now, if we look at the teacher workstations, which are areas such as classrooms, we see that that has decreased from 2016, where it says 71K down to 55K as reported in 2019. And we've also seen an increase in the student to teacher ratio from 9 to 12. And so what that tells us is that from 2016 to 2019, the actual number of classrooms have decreased while more students are in those particular classrooms, which naturally will lead to the need for more classrooms, which would reduce that student to teacher ratio. Down for the percentage, or looking at the percentage of relocatables, that has increased from 2016 to 2019, which shows that the districts are still relying on portables as a means to address population control. Now, parts B as well as part C of the report are more or less the 5-year projection that we're seeing. And so for 2000 to 2019 that was reported, or over the next 5 years, we're seeing new schools have increased by 53%, or the need has increased by 53%. We've also seen a tremendous increase in renovation projects that's projected over the next 5 years, and so that has increased by 128%. And the report itself actually shows that these are coming from energy saving projects, HVAC, roofing, and some athletic projects. We also see an increase in additions, and we see a decrease in relocatable units over the next 5 years, which we did expect to see that because the more that you either add onto a school or build new schools, the needs for relocatables will go down. In Part C, I just want to highlight the area that we saw the biggest difference. And so for teacher workstations, and so what is projected, what was reported in 2016 is 145, and then what was reported in 2019 is 349 of the new teacher work areas would be needed within the 5-year period. And so that comes up to about 140% increase. Now, we did see a decrease by 9% for renovation of teacher work areas from 1622 to 1513. And so what this information tells us is that over the next 5 years, the teacher workstations are going to mostly come from new or some, new projects. So in Part B is all of the costs associated with new and renovated facilities. So all of the costs reported as indicated in Part B, and all of the costs associated with what was reported in Part C comes out to about $8 billion. In Part E, that's all of the scheduled and planned funding that the district foresees within the next 5 years, whether if it's local or state. And so we got a $4 billion reporting. And so if you take the difference between the cost and what the districts expect for funding, we actually have a $4 billion difference or shortfall. And so there's other factors to consider. And so what was reported in the 2019 report, we have 15 bond referendums reported, with majority of those coming from the 2020 year that came out to about 1.4 billion. Taking in consideration the consolidated capital funding for $50 million and the capital improvement funding for $150 million, we get about 1.5 billion as additional funding that we can add to that number, which brings our new shortfall down to $2.5 billion. Again, this is still a shortfall. And so why are we having the shortfall? So we can contribute that to several reasons and areas, one of which the cost of construction per square foot has increased. Information gathered from the National Clearinghouse website, particularly for middle schools and high schools. We are seeing a larger school size within the whole state. Catawba Ridge High School is nearly 500,000 square feet in the York Fort area. The data itself, again, is self-reported, so there are potential funding that was not reported, such as sales tax or other bond referendums that could reduce that shortfall. Also, we saw a higher percent in response rate for the 2019 report than we saw for the 2016 report. So for 2019, only one district did not report, but for 2016, we had 7 districts that did not report. I also want to share with you some of the COVID impacts that it's had on South Carolina. So as of November 24th, we have 58 school districts that are in a hybrid phase, which hybrid is both face-to-face and remote virtual learning, is indicated by the purple color, 20 face-to-face, which is indicated by the red color, and 1 remote learning, which is fully remote learning, which is indicated by the yellow. Our office has implemented remote virtual inspections, which is an International Code Council recognized method. We develop our own guidance and we implement this, or we use this method as a tool to help supplement some of our face-to-face inspections that we've done. So we are still performing face-to-face inspections, but we do use this method as a tool. Other areas that we've seen, our schedule, which normally we get a lot of requests for inspections right before school start, we're seeing that to be more normalized and extended into the fall season, and we expect to see that extended also into the winter. Now, we have partnered up with the Medical University of South Carolina, mostly centered in Charleston. They have a back to business program that we offer to some of the districts where they have staff that will come out to the schools and do an assessment and make recommendations as to how the school can be in a safer position as it relates to COVID, or they'll give what's called a checklist and the school can do that assessment themselves. So we've offered that service to some of the districts within South Carolina. We also see some of the classroom arrangements, trying to be creative with the social distancing, more of a need for cleaning and disinfecting, personnel protective equipment as well. So the masks, the gloves, also hygiene, washing the hands, and the need for more hand sanitizer. Water sources, so some of the drinking fountains are not being used, and so having to come up with ways to supplement the water. Sick workers and shipping delays as well. And so my next slide just kind of gives some of the pictures of signage and gloves and masks that we've seen an increase in, but also elevators for shipping delays. And we also have seen shipping delays in some of the accessibility hardware, so the panic hardware as well. Now, some of the highlights for the Office of School Facilities that we've done really in less than a year, we've updated our South Carolina Planning and Construction Guide. We've also adopted the new 2018 South Carolina Building Codes. We had a significant backlog of plan reviews, and so we reduced that backlog by 98%. We've updated our departmental forms by 88%. We've contracted services for plan reviews, and most recently contracted services for property acquisitions. Now, we were able to also fill vacant positions, and we added 2 full-time positions, and one of those 2 positions are fully dedicated to charter schools. I've created a 4-in-1 schedule for my staff to normalize the workload, and so that's 4 days plan reviews and then 1 day in the field. Now, from fiscal year 19 to fiscal year 20, we've seen an increase by 62% in the number of certificate of occupancies that we've issued for the districts or for the schools. And so the certificate of occupancies deem the building safe to occupy. So that's tremendous. We've also have updated the fire and safety guidelines within our state statute. We've updated our website to become a lot more user-friendly. And we are implementing our new school facilities portal web application, which takes our hard copy method of doing the work and making it electronic, and districts can now see the real live view of their project within our office. So here's just a pictorial of the reduction within our backlog, as well as our new portal application, which will be fully launched January 4, 2021. And currently we're doing training for the application. And this is just a graph of the increase in the certificate of occupancies. Now, some of the challenges that we face, of course, is funding as well as positions. So the 2 additional positions that we've brought in, we definitely need to be able to support the funding for those, as well as have the flexibility in order to provide more help as it relates to the charter schools, because we are seeing a significant increase in the charter schools. We also have a high volume of inspection cancellations, whether that's the inspection being canceled before we show up or the inspection being canceled when we're there, which indicates that the project is not ready. And so we're seeing about 40% cancellations overall. And then in general, the COVID budget restraints. So we're just waiting to see how COVID will impact the remainder of the school year. So again, I would like to thank A4LE for this opportunity to speak to such an amazing group of professionals. I wish you all the best. And as we fulfill our mission in creating a health and safe work environment and learning environment, let's ensure that we are keeping ourselves healthy and safe. Now, if you have any questions or would like to reach out to me, feel free to contact me at the information provided on the slide. Thank you and have a great day.